Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Priyanka and I'm here to help you navigate through life with a leap of faith and positivity. On this channel, we talk about anything that makes this human experience a little more soothing, a little more smoother of an experience. A few weeks ago, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety. My mom was going through some health issues. She was experiencing extremely high blood pressure, which can be dangerous if you are from a medical background or if you have a loved one that suffers from blood pressure. You know that blood pressure can lead to strokes or even heart attacks. And it was the time when my dad was away too. um, he's still away. He's visiting somewhere, and I found myself spiraling into some heavy thoughts. I was thinking these thoughts. I was like, what am I ever gonna do without my mom? My thoughts consumed me like a crocodile would. All these thoughts, right? I was like, what am I ever gonna do without my mom? Because I have such big dreams as to what I want to experience with her, the kind of life that I want her to have. Even though I did script and affirm for her health, and her systolic blood pressure dropped from the 180s all the way down to 110, and her diastolic pressure was also significantly healthier too after I affirmed for her health. And I was in absolute shock because I had never performed health affirmations on someone like that. So it was an absolute shock as to how fast it worked and how amazingly it worked, to be honest. Because she's a total workaholic, she insisted that she still wanted to go back downstairs and get to her work, even though she should have rested. I made sure that she had a healthy blood pressure and I sent her with a healthy blood pressure downstairs. But then my thoughts still were like, this is not going to be forever. She will go back to having the same blood pressure after a while. It was a matter of bringing my awareness to these thoughts while I have been thinking about my mom's health, right? So I kept checking on her because her readings fluctuated back up again. When she was downstairs and she insisted that she keeps working, I kept affirming for her health. I kept affirming that my mom is completely healthy, she has a healthy blood pressure. And then when she finally came back upstairs, which was like around the dinner time, I took her blood pressure reading again, and it was down to 140, around 140. And I was so shocked again. I was like, oh my god, this actually works. This is freaking scary in a good way, because you always want your loved ones to be healthy, right? So then I took her blood pressure reading, and then I was like, oh my god, mom, look at your blood pressure. It's only 140, around 140. And she's like, yeah, the medication finally kicked in. And I was like, in my heart, in my mind, I was like, yeah, mom, maybe. How come that the medication did not work for you before, but now you said it was the medicine? So then I was like, yeah, mom, it was the medicine, but I was also affirming for your health the entire time. Even though she recovered in the moment, the negative talks, they just wouldn't go away. And my brain kept playing tricks on me, and my brain kept telling me that her normal blood pressure level is only temporary, and that she will go back to her old state of health, and she will not be healthy. She will still experience severe headaches that she has been experiencing, and then I will lose her. Those were the thoughts that were still playing in my mind, and that affected me at a very deep level. It completely blocked my desire to work on my YouTube videos and some other things that I have on mind that I want to start. It was on my to-do list to start working on it, but I just did not have the motivation or the drive because I was so frozen in fear that I might just lose my mother. And I even caught myself looking for male validation when we feel trapped in our heads, because I normally don't do it. I normally would keep myself busy. I would, I would talk to my friends. I would walk around. I would play with my fur babies. Um, I would do, I would work on my creative projects. I would make something, I would make like a drink, a tea, something, journal. I would do something like that. We women, we desire male validation when we feel trapped in our heads like that. We need somebody to comfort us, and sometimes, I don't know, for some reason we just think that getting that comfort from guys will somehow help soothe our pain or whatever it is that we are feeling, and we feel desperate and we want to latch onto whatever sort of attention that we get from others for some reason. So our ego is on a high alert in such situations, and our ego, it just wants to feel safe. And for some reason, male validation can sometimes provide that feeling of being safe. And I want to put it out there because I don't want you to judge yourself when things like these come up for you. When you're normally healthily functioning, a grown woman who's confident in her skin and who knows how to take care of herself, but she can have days like that when she just needs some male validation, and it is okay to desire that, okay? And it does not mean that you're insecure or that you cannot function on your own. This is for single women. This is obviously not for women who are in relationships or are married, but for single women, okay? So, it is okay to not judge yourself for it, because we can have such days, right? We can have such days, and it's very important to not judge yourself for that. If it provides you some comfort, then it's okay, So, but anyway, for me, I thankfully did not get that external validation, that external male validation, because it forced me to go even harder on affirming for her help. And today, I want to talk about how I pulled myself out of that mental funk and returned to the good place. Neville Goddard has always said that the realization of your dream is the ultimate solution to your problem. What this means is that God puts desires in us because they are the antidotes to our problems that plague us, that consume us. God naturally puts desires in us because our desires are the solutions to our perceived problems. One of my dreams for me is for my parents to live 100 healthy years, which I am sure everybody wants the same for their parents and their loved ones. But we are programmed by our society to just accept that they are going to get sick as they age. They are going to experience health problems. They are going to have a reduced quality of life, and there's nothing that we can actually do about any of that. See, I am somebody who consumes a lot of manifestation content. So when I learned about the law of assumption and I was watching all of these success videos, success stories, watching other people's success stories with reviving their loved ones to life from the dead, literally, that has happened. I have heard success stories that talked about how they resurrected their loved ones from the dead, and there are success stories on Semi Ingram's Facebook group. Reading stories on her group, it planted this powerful seed in my head that if others could literally resurrect their loved ones from the dead, then how could I not manifest a perfect health for my parents? And this is all a mindset. When you're watching all these videos, when you're looking at all these success stories, this is all a mindset happening passively. It's not happening actively, but it's a passive process because it's happening in the background. I was still in a very, very depressive state, right? But I was still doing what needed to be done. I was applying for jobs. I just did not want to work on my YouTube videos or on my creative projects. I was still doing everything that needed to be done, but when it came to working on my to-do list for my creative projects or work on anything that I wanted to work, I just wouldn't want to do it. And I would get no work done at all. And so, you know how your ego works? The second that I would hit the pillow at night, my inner critic, it would kick in and I would judge myself. My ego would take over to ask me, what did you even do today? You got no work done today. You're just a lazy person that does nothing but waste your time. Every single night, the same thought would loop in my head until I finally realized that I had to do something about it. I started giving myself a mental pep talk to quiet that inner critic. And I would then tell myself, you know what, let's instead focus on what I did actually do on the day. Well, then my brain started to think, right? And then my brain was like, I worked out today, I applied for jobs today, and I spent some time affirming for my mom's health, and that really did make her feel better, and that counts. Because I took so many concrete steps towards my goals and practicing what I teach, which is manifestation, to actually walk the walk and not just talk the talk. I actually started asking myself this exact question, this exact prompt. I started with, where was I kind to myself today? Because it is so easy to be kind to other people, and we don't even realize, we don't even take a second to acknowledge that this is when we were kind to someone else. But when was the last time when we were actually kind to ourselves? And even if we were kind to ourselves, we never acknowledged that this is where I was kind to myself today. This is what I did for myself today. And that was the point of this question, of this prompt. So even when I did nothing but only affirmed for my mom, that is also then going into my journal at 3:45 a.m. because that is when I've been going to bed. These days I've been going to bed at like 4 a.m. So 15 minutes is my journaling session. So I began journaling to answer this question, to make peace with my ego. Like today, it could be something. So for the day, I was like, okay, I still did my workout, I still did my skincare, and I even complimented myself in the mirror. When these little things are already a seamless part of your routine, like working out or reading or doing your skincare or even robotically affirming, it is so easy to take them for granted. We completely forget that these habits took massive conscious effort to build. And as a beginner, the thought of working out every day is painful. But I work out every day, reading every day, doing my skincare. It all feels tedious at first. But now they have become second nature to me. Like I don't even have to think before I do it, because my morning routine is designed around my skincare, my journaling, my reading. And they are all great habits to have. They're all phenomenal habits to have because it takes some time. It's not second nature. I wasn't born with the desire to work out. I had to build these habits slowly and gradually, right? Step by step. And you take care of yourself without even thinking about it. And you don't give yourself nearly enough credit for that. Asking yourself this one question will change that for you. You will start giving yourself credit for the effort that you put in every day to be better, to work on yourself, to take small, concrete action to work towards your dreams rather than taking these amazing habits for granted. taking yourself for granted. And you should always and always acknowledge what you actually do rather than focusing on what you do not do. And that was the whole point. You deserve to give yourself credit. You deserve to say nice things to yourself and fluff your ego a little. You have figured out what type of books you actually like to read, what skincare works best for you, and what workouts your body needs, and how much can you push your body. So heads off to you for figuring all that out for yourself, and honestly for figuring yourself out. Getting to know yourself helps with the relationship that you have with yourself. It helps you build your identity that you want for yourself. You can even write about the impact that you had on other people, on the people around you. It could even be something as small as smiling at somebody at Target. And also, if you do not do anything else, but you just start smiling at people, you'll be surprised at how many people smile back at you. As humans, we naturally seek connection, but our fear holds us back. We want to smile at people, but we don't because we're afraid of people not smiling back at us, and that therefore we never even try to give people our smile. You smiling at people when you never have before, you would love how open and responsive people would be to that. So when you acknowledge what you do and focus on it, it gradually becomes your identity. But the key part is to acknowledge what you do, because what you focus on is what you're instructing your 3D to show you. These are all the things about ourselves and our personality that we take for granted and we never acknowledge. And when you ask yourself this one question, where was I kind to myself today? Well, bring your focus on what you did do on the day rather than focusing on what you didn't do. And if it bore results for you, and if you write that down, then it enforces that belief even more. This is the work that many people go through life without even doing, even on days when you do nothing, but you were kind to yourself, then that is enough, because speaking nicely to yourself requires some shaking yourself up and thinking in a different way, especially when you are not used to it. Yeah, so this video was about being kind to yourself, not being not forgetting to be kind to yourself no matter what happens in life. It could be something as serious and as tragic as you seeing your loved ones suffering, but this was a video to remind you that you are in full control of your loved one's health, okay? And this is the type of content, like this is one of the videos that I have searched for myself, that if I can do something about my loved ones suffering from health issues, and if there's anything that I can do to improve their quality of life, to improve their lifespan, right? And I didn't find a lot of those videos, so I wanted to give my specific example that if I can do it, if I can affirm for my mother's health, so can you. But the most important thing is to take care of yourself and to be kind to yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So when your loved one is suffering, your pet is suffering, or they're having some health issues, then the important thing is to acknowledge, to bring your awareness to the fact that you are the operant power and you have a full say in their health, because they're always listening to you telepathically. They're always responding to the signals that you send them. So if you keep saying negative things, if you keep getting worried about their health, then you're sending those signals to them and they're responding to that. And if you keep affirming for their radiant health, then they are listening, they're catching those signals, and they're responding to that as well. So choose wisely. I also want to leave you with this side note that our current society constantly feeds our ego instead of our soul. A 9 to 5, it feeds the ego. Reading a book feeds the soul, yet we feel guilty for reading because it isn't productive. But we never feel guilty for going to work. So stop judging yourself for not hustling enough, for not doing enough. You were never meant to live the life that we have been programmed to live. Okay? So this is it for me today. I want you to comment down below and let me know, where were you kind to yourself today? When did you compliment yourself today? Let's show ourselves some love, because you do a lot more than you acknowledge, I promise. And I want you to bring your attention to what you actually do. I want you to acknowledge what you actually do rather than beating yourself up over what do you not do. Okay? So your task is to comment down below, where were you kind to yourself? Where did you compliment yourself today? And then keep thinking that throughout the day, because that's how you reprogram your mind whenever a negative situation comes up. Whenever you have the tendency, the urge to react, I want you to go back to where you were kind to yourself today and where you complimented yourself today. Okay? That's your goal for today. Thank you very much for watching up until the end. Also, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon so that you're notified every time I post a video. We are a pretty small corner over here, but it would be appreciated if you turn a small corner into a big corner, and then maybe a room, by subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.